of this hour on VTV News. Prime Minister chairs meeting on developing science, technology and innovation. And Vietnam's e-commerce market to exceed $31 billion. In world news, U.S. announces 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good morning. It is now 8 a.m. local time and you're watching VTV News. I'm dealing with the latest updates. Now, on Wednesday morning, State President Leung Keung held a working session with the President's office to review the forthcoming implementation of Resolution 18 on streamlining the organizational structure. The President's office will be downsized to 6 departments, eliminating internal subdivisions within each department. The State President emphasized that the new structure should improve efficiency with fewer governmental bodies. Once the restructuring is complete, the President's office must promptly finalize its working regulations and procedures to enhance advisory functions. In addition, the State President underscored the importance of preparing for the upcoming Party Congress according to the party's regulations and principles. Now, on Tuesday morning, chairing the meeting between the Government Standing Committee and commercial banks, Prime Minister Phie requested that the banking system, including commercial banks, take the lead in promoting growth, controlling inflation, stabilizing the market economy, and bringing common benefits to the country, businesses, and citizens. More to follow.
Respectfully conveying General Secretary Talam's best wishes to the delegates, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh thanked the commercial banks for their important contributions to the country's achievements.
With a growth target of 15 to 16% this year, we are committed to providing the economy with capital, focusing on priority areas.
Vietcombank and other banks are determined to focus on funding key national projects in 2025 and the following years.
HD Bank is committed to always being a reliable partner, providing effective capital flows, promoting sustainable growth according to the government's orientation and the state bank's management, and supporting businesses and people.
Thanking the enthusiastic and responsible opinions of the bank representatives, the Prime Minister requested the ministries and branches take prompt action on the proposals and recommendations in the spirit of clear people, clear work, clear time, clear responsibility, clear results. In particular, the Prime Minister immediately decided on 2 things. First, agreeing with the proposal to increase charter capital for state-owned commercial banks to ensure effective development, assigning the state bank to carry out necessary procedures to submit to competent authorities for decision-making. Second, urgently legalizing Resolution 42 of the National Assembly on piloting bad debt settlement by credit institutions. The Prime Minister emphasized that 2025 is of special importance, the year of many important events in the country.
Banks need to cut costs, reorganize their operations to be more efficient, and sacrifice part of their profits to reduce lending rates and support the economy, businesses, and customers. Focusing on credit is necessary to contribute to renewing growth drivers such as investment, consumption, and export.
The Prime Minister emphasized that banking activities must be flexible and based on specific situations. If the situation is special, there must be special responses in the spirit of harmonious interests, sharing risks, and sometimes having to sacrifice for the country and its people.
Now, also on Tuesday, Prime Minister Phie chaired a conference on developing science, technology, innovation, and high-quality human resources to promote economic growth.
At the conference, representatives of ministries, branches, and large domestic and international corporations discussed and proposed tasks and solutions to help achieve the GDP growth target of 8% in 2025. The recommendations are anticipated to create momentum for double-digit growth in the following years. They also dovetail with the implementation of Resolution 57 of the Politburo to drive progress on science and technology development, innovation, digital transformation, and the government's action program.
Developing science and technology, innovation, digital transformation, and training high-quality human resources are objective requirements, strategic choices, and top priorities for national development, with people at the center. This contributes to restructuring the economy in a fast and sustainable direction, improving society's overall labor productivity, and enhancing the economy's competitiveness and integration.
The Prime Minister emphasized 9 key groups of tasks and solutions. The first was to raise awareness of the position and importance of science and technology, innovation, digital transformation, and high-quality human resources training. Second, delays and obstacles regarding institutions, mechanisms, and policies should be reviewed and amended promptly to improve and increase effectiveness. Third, promote infrastructure development, including digital infrastructure and information technology, and build innovation centers. Fourth, resources must be diversified, and public-private partnerships and priority policies must be mobilized. Fifth, the Prime Minister requested innovation and diversification of training from high school to university and postgraduate levels. Sixth, governance must remove cumbersome mechanisms and administrative procedures. Seventh, promoting international cooperation, especially the transfer of source, core, and cutting-edge technology. Eighth, ministries, branches, localities, institutes, schools, and scientists cooperate closely and effectively in the spirit of harmonized benefits, shared risks. As the ninth task, the Prime Minister requested a focus on developing the global Vietnamese innovation ecosystem to attract brainpower, technology, and human resources from around the world.
At the World Government Summit 2025 in the United Arab Emirates, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs Bùi Thanh Sơn met with Lao Prime Minister Son Say Sifandon. The two sides agreed to continue directing ministries and branches to implement these signed agreements, create new economic, cultural, educational, health, scientific, and technological cooperation changes, improve investment cooperation effectiveness, and promote economic infrastructure development in Laos. During a meeting with the Vice President, Deputy Prime Minister, and Minister of Foreign Affairs of the United Arab Emirates, the UAE leaders expressed the deep impressions of Prime Minister Phie historic visit to the country last year, emphasizing that the visit demonstrated the Vietnamese government's strong determination to promote the high-level commitments between the two countries. Many people now shop online more often than at the market or supermarket. Over the past 4 years, Vietnam's e-commerce market has grown at an average annual rate of 16 to 30%. Last year, the market exceeded $25 billion. Now, with these new growth drivers, it is forecasted to surpass $31 billion this year.
Shifting from traditional retail to e-commerce has shown clear results. OCOP Vietnam's cleaning products made from pineapple peel have reached more consumers through online sales channels, helping the business confidently achieve its annual revenue target.
The media campaign and celebrity endorsements have helped spread the product to a wider audience.
According to the online retail market report by Metric, the total revenue of Vietnam's 5 most popular e-commerce platforms is expected to reach nearly $12.5 million by the end of 2024, growing more than 37%. The market's purchasing power remains high, driving growth into 2025. Although promising, growth is not guaranteed for all.
First, we must improve the quality of domestic products, and second, we need to explain the value of these products to consumers. We have many training programs for sellers. To achieve an 8% GDP growth, we expect retail industry revenue to increase by 12% and e-commerce revenue to grow by at least 24%.
If we maintain a growth rate of 20 to 22%, the $31 billion target is entirely achievable. However, the potential for e-commerce growth is still quite broad, and this figure could exceed expectations.
Beauty, home and living, and women's fashion are the top revenue categories. However, grocery and food has seen the highest growth at 76%, signaling a shift in consumer behavior. This growth will create more opportunities for local suppliers and help reduce the e-commerce gap between regions.
The National Assembly Standing Committee recently reviewed a proposal to increase the Vietnam Expressway Corporation or VEC charter capital for 2024 to 2026. Minister of Finance Nguyễn Văn Thắng stated that VEC's charter capital is currently very low at just over 1,100 billion Vietnamese dong, about $43 million, while its total investment exceeds 108 trillion Vietnamese dong, about $4.2 billion. This significant imbalance has made securing funding for expressway projects difficult for VEC. Based on this, the government has proposed that the National Assembly approve the conversion of over 36 trillion Vietnamese dong, or $1.4 billion, from public investment funds originally allocated to the Ministry of Transport into charter capital for VEC. Coming up next, Mekong Delta facing increased saltwater intrusion. And young people spread patriotism on social networks. Welcome back to VTV News. The Mekong Delta region is entering the peak dry season, and saltwater intrusion is forecast to increase in the next few days. Despite being located deep inland, Hậu Giang is a locality seriously affected by this phenomenon.
Some areas in Hậu Giang have recorded the highest salinity levels since the beginning of the year and are expected to continue rising. 4 sluice gates have been closed to protect more than 2,000 hectares of rice fields.
We have to check the salinity level every day. If it decreases, the sluices will be open for people to circulate and transport goods.
An automatic salinity measuring station has been installed at the location most affected by saltwater intrusion in Hậu Giang. The monitoring will provide early detection of saltwater intrusion.
With data collected from the measuring station, local authorities can advise farmers to proactively take water for irrigation and livestock farming.
Since the beginning of the dry season, farmers have been instructed to store fresh water for farming and provided with salinity measuring pens.
This device is very accurate. Thanks to it, I know when to stock up on fresh water and when to stop taking water from the canal.
According to forecasts, saltwater intrusion in the Mekong Delta will be concentrated from February to March, penetrating major rivers 40 to 45 kilometers upstream.
The Ministry of Health has authorized Hanoi to launch a measles vaccination campaign for infants aged 6 months to under 9 months instead of waiting until 9 months as per the National Expanded Immunization Program. The campaign will begin on February the 17th and be implemented across all communes, wards, and townships. The goal is to ensure that 95% of children aged 6 to under 9 months in Hanoi receive 1 dose of the measles vaccines to help prevent an increase in measles cases. The Ministry of Health will provide the vaccine supply. In the past week, Hanoi recorded 114 measles cases, an increase of 60 cases compared to the previous week. Nearly half of these cases involve infants aged 6 to 9 months. As spring arrives, the rhythmic beat of drums heralds village festivals across Vietnam. While large-scale festivals have grown in popularity, traditional village festivals during the Lunar New Year remain an irreplaceable part of Vietnamese culture, especially for those with rural roots. Let's explore these festive atmospheres in our following report.
In Dai Phuong village of Dan Phuong, the atmosphere is already buzzing with excitement even before the festival begins. The village roads come alive with colorful flags and prith.
Following village tradition, the festival takes place every 5 years. It serves as an opportunity for all generations to honor and remember their ancestors' cultural heritage.
The festivals are also a time for villagers to pay homage to the village's protective deity and to their blessings for prosperity and bountiful harvest. While ancestor worship unites families, worshiping the village tutelary deity strengthens the bonds within the entire community.
My family went to the festival to show respect and gratitude to the village's tutelary god and ancestors, and to pray for health and peace for the family.
These festivals also provide villagers with a period of rest after their harvests.
The festival features folk games like tug-of-war, wrestling, pig catching, and duck releasing. These activities are meant to energize the villagers and encourage them for the upcoming winter-spring crop season and other business.
This year's Dai Phuong Village Festival holds special significance, as its 400-year-old communal house has received official recognition as a special national monument.
Our villagers are very proud and eagerly await the festival and the special national monuments recognition. This is very meaningful. No matter how far we go or how successful we are, we always remember our roots and homeland.
The village festival is more than just a day of celebration. It's a bridge connecting past to present, bringing generations back to their roots. It strengthens the bonds between villagers, fostering a deep sense of community.
The 2025 Chen Temple Festival opened on Monday at the Chen King Shrines and Tombs Historical Complex in Hưng Hà District, Taiping Province. The festival featured a water procession to the Chen Temple, symbolizing hopes for good weather and harvests. A highlight was a performance with over 500 artists honoring the Chen Dynasty's legacy. The event also showcased over 300 stalls offering local OCOP products. The festival has been recognized as a national intangible cultural heritage since 2014. Recently, spreading love for the homeland through social media has soared. In addition to individual video clips, more well-organized projects are emerging, mostly created by young peoples in various regions, telling unique cultural and historical stories.
Hundreds of videos created by Gen Z are shared on social media, showcasing stories of different regions, crafts, and traditional cultures in creative ways. This is part of the Vietnamese Style Project, which includes 3 strands: Gen Z returning to villages, Gen Z with Vietnamese flavors, and Gen Z with Vietnamese heritage.
Our approach is to create videos with a style that appeals to young people. using eye-catching effects. My videos focus on sharing the story of Vietnam's cultural heritage through first-hand encounters with artisans and their crafts.
In recent years, social media content related to culture, history, and love for the country has gained high engagement and positive feedback. Many organizations have partnered with social platforms to launch digital campaigns sharing patriotism and national pride messages.
We're partnering with platforms and localities for the Proud of Vietnam campaign. Creators using the hashtag #ProudVietnam in their content will receive support to promote their videos.
With creativity and passion, today's youth continue uniquely broadcasting the love story for history and the national spirit. They blend tradition and modernity, keeping the national spirit alive in every heart.
Coming up next in our world news. U.S. announces 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports. In Paris AI Summit, balancing AI development and control. U.S. President Donald Trump has officially signed an executive order imposing a 25% tariff on imported steel and aluminum effective March the 4th. Many countries have immediately voiced concerns, fearing the impact of these decisions on the global industry and economy. More in the following story.
Speaking in the Oval Office while signing the executive order, President Trump confirmed the 25% tariff with no exceptions or exemptions. In response to the move, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau emphasized that Canada would take a firm and clear stance.
Highlight the negative impacts on Americans and Canadians of these unacceptable tariffs.
Meanwhile, European Union Trade Commissioner Maros Sefcovic warned that higher tariffs would only harm all parties involved.
And by imposing tariffs, the US will be taxing its own citizens, raising costs for its own business, and fueling inflation. In addition, tariffs are not only harmful for the trading partners directly involved, but also risk having disruptive effects for many others, as well as the global trading system as a whole. Put simply, it is a lose-lose scenario.
In a surprising move, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese announced that US President Donald Trump had agreed to consider a 25% tariff exemption on aluminium and steel for Australia. Previously, Australia successfully negotiated an exemption from steel and aluminium tariffs during Trump's first term. According to official US data, Canada and Mexico are the largest steel exporters to the US, with Brazil and South Korea also being major suppliers. Meanwhile, aluminium imports into the U.S. mainly come from Canada, the United Arab Emirates, and China.
Now, the U.S. and China leaders had a phone call 3 days before President Donald Trump's inauguration for his second term. The confirmation came on Tuesday from Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Hua Chunying. Accordingly, China's President Xi Jinping called then U.S. President-elect Donald Trump on January the 17th. In an interview on Fox News on Monday, President Trump mentioned that he had a phone call with President Xi Jinping, but did not provide details on the timing or topics discussed. The world is anticipating that this high-level phone call between China and the U.S. may lead to a possibility of easing or delaying the trade tensions between the two largest economies in the world. World leaders and top tech executives are meeting in Paris to discuss the safe use of artificial intelligence, with concerns over regulatory measures potentially stifling innovation. France aims to balance innovation encouragement with risk control, as emphasized by President Macron. He hopes the European Union's new AI Act will be flexible to support startups. Compared to previous AI summits in the UK and South Korea, calls for stricter controls have eased. According to the 2024 European Technology Report, the US and China dominate AI investment, while the EU only attracts a small share. France and the EU will unveil an AI development roadmap and investment plans. Heat waves in South America are at alarming levels. Argentina's meteorological agency has issued a red alert as temperatures exceed 40 degrees Celsius in half of the country's provinces, marking a record high. The forests along the Andes are facing the worst fires in 30 years, with recovery potentially taking 200 years. In Brazil, the state of Rio Grande do Sul proposed the start of the school year by a week due to the heat, affecting around 700,000 students. Local authorities are developing climate-adapted school models with infrastructure adjustments. And up next is the weather forecast. And that's the end of VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can download VTVgo from App Store or Google Play, or visit our YouTube channel, VTV4Go. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again at 3 p.m. local time.